I was allowed the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest, explorer of time and technology, from historical insights to futuristic innovation. None other than Mr. Christian Moran. Welcome, Mr. Christian, a Book 101 review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Sure. Thank you for having me, Daniel. I appreciate the opportunity. My background is in documentary film. I made my first documentary back in 2008 called Ayahuasca Diary, where I synthesized my love of archaeology and ancient history along with filmmaking. And since then, I've done a number of documentaries on people like Walt Disney, emerging technologies, and I've written several books, a couple books on the history of the Walt Disney Company, science fiction novel, a graphic novel. And these days, I'm primarily involved with our company called G-Tech, which stands for Granttown Experimental Communities, which is a development startup using emerging technologies to try and build the communities of the future. And along with that, I'm still involved in filmmaking with our work at the Expand Institute, where we use emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence to better help people understand the wisdom of the past and how it can be applied to the modern day and on into the future that we are moving towards.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Christian. Thank you. And today, let's talk about echoes of the past, how history and AI shaping the future of storytelling. And inviting you to please do come over on my movie 101 review. It's my fifth season already, and let's talk about the films that you are talking about. Okay, so
Absolutely.
let's do this. The core driver at its heart, storytelling is about making meaning from experience. How does integration of AI not just change the tools of storytelling, but potentially challenge or expand our very understanding of what a story is?
Sure. So I think that, some of the most interesting things regarding artificial intelligence and its use in filmmaking is the ability for a filmmaker, such as myself, to really be able to control in almost a complete way the story that is being told, the story that they are attempting to tell. Historically, obviously, films are the most expensive artistic medium. It costs a lot of money to make a film, and it takes a lot of people working together in concert to bring that film into reality. And as a filmmaker, sometimes that can be great because you're forced to work with other people and their artistic talents come together and something else comes out of that. But from a purely artistic perspective, from the filmmaker, sometimes that original vision can be lost as more and more visions are compounded on top of one another. So one of the interesting things I think about AI being used for by filmmakers is the ability really to control completely that narrative that they are attempting to tell and that vision that they are attempting to get out. And I also think it really is democratizing the ability to make films. As I said before, it's a very expensive artistic medium. And whereas today it might cost $200 million to make a very large production, there are people alive today, a few years from now, who will be making phenomenal films sitting in front of their computer, and it costs them $20 to make what a few years before only cost $200 million. So I think that that's some of the most interesting to me things that are happening with AI technologies in filmmaking. is really the ability for everyday people who lack the resources to create films will really be able to go out there and make amazing films that have never been seen before.
Amazing films for sure. So we often think of history as a fixed record. How can AI help us move from viewing history as static database to experiencing the dynamic and multi-perspective simulation of a human experience?
Absolutely. I think that that's one of the things that I'm most interested really in um, doing with artificial intelligence and filmmaking is, first of all, as someone who's interested in history, I've found AI to be a tool that really helps me understand history in ways that I haven't been able to before, because I can use those tools to really help me learn in ways that are really specialized for how I learn. No one learns in exactly the same way. Some people learn best by reading, some by listening, some by experiencing. And so the various ways that you can use AI to personalize your learning of history, I think is very interesting and very important. And beyond that, I think that um, beyond reading history, beyond watching a documentary, these new forms of AI that are emerging, as I said, again, more personalized. Once you can create immersive environments using artificial intelligence, um, you'll be able to really step into the past and really have a truly experiential, um, participatory view of history, where it's not just words on a page, it's not just images on a screen. You will truly be able to step into the past, see how people lived, hear how they spoke, and really feel that time period and what those people were and how they lived.
Very well said, Mr. Christian. The new oral tradition. For millennia, stories evolved through oral retelling. In what ways is AI generated narrative modern, digital counterpart of this ancient process? And what might we gain or lose in the transition?
That's a very interesting question. I had never thought of that before. Obviously, as you suggest, uh, oral traditions are the oldest form of narrative storytelling and of transmission of history. Um, I think that artificial intelligence, in terms of being the successor to that tradition, I might go back to kind of what I had said before. I think that with AI having access to almost the totality of human knowledge, uh, and as AI gets to know you as an individual, the more that you use it, it really can, whatever you're curious about, whatever you're seeking knowledge of, it will have access to that knowledge. It can teach you about that, and it can teach you in a way that makes the most sense to you. It can speak to you in a way that most resonates with you, as opposed to perhaps a more scholarly language. It can talk to you in a way that you really retain the information. And when you ask about the kind of divide or the area that we're moving into with that, what we might lose, I think the most concerning thing regarding artificial intelligence right now is really the corporations that own those platforms and have created those platforms, and the information that they might not want duplicated or replicated or extended to people. And so I guess censorship of one form or another is always the most concerning thing. And so that would be my primary concern going forward, is if people uh, give their um, I don't want to say give their knowledge, but give away their learning completely towards artificial intelligence, there is that threat that those who control the AI would disallow some aspects of historical knowledge or historical fact to be passed down to others. And so I would say that that's my greatest concern regarding AI and education.
Mr. Christian, let's talk about AI as a creative partner as well as a tool. The historian's co pilot. Imagine an AI trained on the complete works of a historian like uh, Toni Morrison. How
Hmm.
would such a tool act not a replacement but as a thought partner for a modern writer exploring historical theme?
Well, I can give you a personal experience that I've had that I think really shaped how I view AI as a partner in my process. So I've been fortunate to make a number of documentary films in my life, and obviously, the beginning of that process would be outlining the film, what I hope it to be, what subjects I want to cover, and how it will flow from beginning to end. As I began working with our group Expand Institute, we got more into um, not just pure documentaries, but the idea of timeless wisdom. We did a series on the first one, The 13 Virtues of Benjamin Franklin. So, Benjamin Franklin created really the first self help program in the world. And he created it for himself, where he said, these, I think, are the 13 virtues that any human being should try to uphold. And he was going to try and spend 1 week perfecting a virtue and then move on the next week to the next virtue. And after he got through 13 weeks, he'd start back at the beginning again. And when we started the process, my partner, Alex Changho, um, who has worked with Tony Robbins and a number of other people in that space, he wanted me to outline in a particular format so that this would be more educational. And I had never outlined in this particular format. I don't even remember what it's called. But he said, do you think you can outline the Ben Franklin documentary in this format? And I said, absolutely, sure. I'll just have to learn it. So I went a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, I still had not even learned properly what this particular formatting technique was, because it dealt with personal growth and things of that nature that I just had not dealt with before. And so this was in an early version of Chat GPT, I think Chat GPT 3. And we asked it one day after 3 weeks of me not being able to get this outline done, are you aware of the 13 virtues of Benjamin Franklin? It said yes, and it listed them out. And then we said, are you aware of this particular type of formatting for personal growth? It said, yes, I am. And then we said, could you please outline a video series on Benjamin Franklin's 13 virtues within this particular type of formatting? And within 15 seconds, it had accomplished it. So, what in 3 weeks I had not been able to learn and implement on my own, it accomplished for me in 15 seconds. And I was then immediately able to move into my normal process of filmmaking by using that particular outline that it had created. So, I think that to me, using AI as a partner is not giving over your creative abilities. It's not allowing it to do everything. It is allowing it to do some of the tasks that you maybe don't particularly enjoy doing, or in my instance, in my case, in this particular instance, didn't even know how to do. So I think that those are some of the most interesting ways of partnering with AI.
Very well said, Mr. Christian. Very well said. So, what will be your short term and long term goals?
Short term and long term goals with artificial intelligence and filmmaking.
Yes, please.
Okay. Short term goals for me have been to really this technology is changing so quickly. As soon as we get done with one video series, the everything has changed. To put again, to use my own experience, the first timeless wisdom we did was the Benjamin Franklin, and at that point we could use a platform called Midjourney to create still photos using artificial intelligence. Um, so we did that, but by the time we were done creating it, um, video platforms had come out, right? And so now we were already behind the curve because we were releasing a documentary that had used AI to create still images, but now you could create video. And so the next one, which was on the philosophy of Bushido, we were able to use AI video that we had created to do that. But then when we were done with that, now it's getting to the point where you can create whole scenes, camera angles, within an environment, so that I'm not just creating one shot of one person. Now I can create a room, and I can set up a camera that films from this angle and then from another angle using the same characters and things of that nature. So my short-term goals have really been to try and adapt with the technology and learn it as quickly and as efficiently as I and my team can. Long-term goals for us, I think, would be to really attempt to, when the technology is to that point, which I think it will be within the next 12 to 18 months, to really try and use that technology to create a feature length narrative film that does not feel like AI slop, as is typically the term people use right now, but um, is a film that you can feel the emotion from the characters, that you can feel that it really was made shot by shot, angle by angle, story beat by story beat, by people who care about the story that they're trying to tell, and to do it in a way that is as emotionally resonant and effective as traditional filmmaking. So that would be my long-term goal.
Good luck to good luck to your goals, Mr. Christian. Looking forward for more success. I know it will be a piece of advice for those people that don't want to be like you.
People that want to be like me, piece of advice. Well, I would say that um, the most important thing that you can do is believe in yourself. And if you have an idea that you believe in, it does not matter if others believe in it or not. The first step to creating anything is to believing that it can be done. And I can't tell you how many people I've researched throughout history were told that what they wanted to do was crazy or impossible or not worth the time or effort. And they're the ones that went on and made a difference in the world and a difference in people's lives. So the first step to accomplishing anything is in believing that you can accomplish it. So that's I think, my foundational advice to anyone.
Well, great advice, Mr. Christian, and thank you for that. So, can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Absolutely. I think regarding how I view technology, the most important book was a book that came out about 20 years ago. I think it was the end of 2005 or start of 2006, and it was by a man named Ray Kurzweil. Ray Kurzweil. It's called "The Singularity Is Near." He recently released a kind of sequel book a year or two ago called "The Singularity Is Nearer," but "The Singularity Is Near" really helped me to understand something called Moore's Law, which is this idea that every year the ability of technology and computation doubles and the cost of computation halves. So, by following that curve, you could begin to understand what technologies would become possible within certain periods of time. And so it really helped me to understand um, what technologies were coming down the line, when those technologies would begin to really have an effect on society. And it helped me really prepare for where we are today with artificial intelligence and robotics. Um, there is a lot of disruption that is happening, and it's only going to become more disruptive as we move into the future and these technologies become ever more powerful and ever more present in our lives. And so I think that as a species, we're going to have a lot of questions that we have to answer. That because these technology is neither good nor bad. Technology is neutral. It's the way in which we implement these technologies that we judge as either being good or bad. So these technologies are, as I said, are going to have a disruptive effect, but that creates the opportunity for us to create a better system, better ways of life. And if we implement these technologies properly, we're going to be able to create a world in which every human being on the planet is fed, housed, clothed, and educated. If we don't properly institute these technologies, there's going to be a few very rich people and everyone else. And so, I'm an optimist, and I believe that using these technologies, we are going to create a better world for everyone. And that's what we're trying to do through my organization, GTech. As I said at the beginning, trying to create communities using these technologies. And that book, The Singularity is Near, really put me on that path to saying there are problems in the world, and technology can help us solve those problems if we implement the technologies correctly.
Very well said, Mr. Christian. But before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry in third season, and my book 101 review in sixth season too, comedy 101 fourth season, and my food 101 in sixth season as well. Geography 101 love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 are in fifth season, Science 101, Sex 101 in its fourth season, and of course, my baby podcast, Trivia 101, Motivation 101, Spiritual Awakening 101, Entrepreneurship 101, Love Letters are no Low 101, Mental Health 101, Coaching 101, of course, my Bible Verses 101 are my baby podcast. So please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Christian, let's project forward 50 years. Paint a picture for us. How might a child in 2074 interact with and understand a pivotal event with the 20th century using the storytelling tools of their time?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. With the storytelling tools of their time in the year 2070, by that
Mm,
point, we will probably have the technology known as nanobots. And those are, well, they're robots at the scale of cells. And most likely, there will be a great many people with those nanobots within their bodies, cleaning out their arteries, helping their body perform at its optimal. And there's a very good possibility that those same nanobots will be able to connect to the neurons in your mind and will be able to essentially help you experience, instead of putting on VR goggles or watching a movie, you
mhm.
would be able to experience in a very real way uh, touch, taste, sound, feeling. And they would be able to travel to any point in history using that technology. Again, even more so to experience that time, to eat the food and taste from that time or that culture, to be able to smell the streets that they're walking around in, so on and so forth, to see and hear the music from that time period, see and feel the clothing of that time period. And I believe that that will be what the filmmakers of the future will be using to help people experience.
I like that technology, Mr. Christian. Hoping for that in the future. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your business, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. If you're interested in learning more about the work that I'm doing or Granttown and GTech. You can find us at granttown.org, GTech, GTEC.org. And you can also find us on Instagram and our YouTube channel, which is granttown/GTech.
Yes, people, less about Mr. Christian Moran, because if you support him for sure, more and more advocacy like this to rise. So, Mr. Christian, I'm inviting you to be part of my movie 101 review, and let's talk about your movies that you are doing. What are the big difference from doing it with AI for the natural one? So, Mr. Christian, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate the opportunity.
More to come, people. See you soon.